The year is 2098. The surface of Earth is a desolate wasteland, overrun by relentless zombies. Humanity, once the pinnacle of evolution, is now reduced to clusters of survivors dwelling beneath the ground, in sprawling, labyrinthine caves and tunnels. This underground refuge, called the Abyss, offered temporary safety until the day it didn't. Life underground was harsh but manageable. Hydroponic farms provided food, geothermal energy kept the lights on, and water dripped endlessly from the rocky ceiling. The survivors believed they had escaped the worst of the apocalypse, but whispers among the tunnels spoke of something darker, something more intelligent, lurking in the shadows. It started with the disappearances. Groups sent to map uncharted tunnels failed to return. At first, it was attributed to cave-ins or faulty navigation, but when the screams echoed through the caverns one fateful night, it became clear. The Abyss held secrets far more terrifying than the undead above. The Discovery. Maya Kane, a geologist turned survivalist, had always been drawn to the unexplored depths of the Abyss. One night, armed with a map and accompanied by her ragtag team, Elliot, a former medic, Grayson, an ex-military engineer, and Lila, a sharp-tongued scavenger, Mia ventured into the uncharted lower levels to investigate the disappearances. As they descended deeper, the air grew colder, the walls damp with an unfamiliar slime. Strange symbols, etched with precision into the stone, lined the cavern walls. "This wasn't made by us," Mia whispered, her voice barely audible over the dripping water. Hours later, they stumbled upon the first sign of life, or unlife. A hunched figure stood at the end of the tunnel, its pale, elongated limbs twitching unnaturally. Unlike the mindless zombies above, its movements were calculated. Its eyes glowed faintly, studying them with unsettling intelligence. Before anyone could react, it unleashed a guttural shriek. Shadows moved in the periphery. They weren't alone. The intelligent undead. These weren't ordinary zombies. Dubbed sentries by the survivors, they displayed terrifying levels of coordination. They hunted in packs, ambushing their prey with precision. Worse, they used the environment to their advantage, triggering rockfalls and cutting off escape routes. The team barely survived the first encounter, retreating with only minor injuries. But the sentries weren't done. They followed, tracking their scent through the maze-like tunnels. Mia, ever the scientist, noticed patterns in their attacks. "They're guarding something," she deduced, "something they don't want us to find." Driven by a mix of curiosity and desperation, the group decided to investigate further. If these creatures were intelligent, perhaps they could be understood, or defeated. Their journey led them to a massive, subterranean chamber, illuminated by a bioluminescent fungus that coated the walls. At its center stood a grotesque throne of bone and stone, occupied by a creature unlike any they had seen, a towering figure with a humanoid form and unnervingly sharp features. It was the hive mind, the origin of the sentries. Through guttural growls and chilling whispers, it communicated with its minions. Mia realized that this being wasn't merely undead, it was evolving. "They're not just surviving," she murmured in awe. "They're building a civilization." The team's intrusion did not go unnoticed. The hive mind rose, its eyes blazing with fury. With a wave of its skeletal hand, the sentries closed in, their glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws cutting off every escape route. Grayson rigged makeshift explosives from their gear, buying the team precious seconds to flee. Lila, ever the resourceful scavenger, used her knowledge of the tunnels to lead them through a winding escape route. Elliot, injured but determined, carried their dwindling supplies. But Mia couldn't leave. "We can't just run forever," she argued. "If we don't stop this thing, it'll find us no matter where we hide." The team reluctantly agreed to her plan. Grayson's explosives were repurposed for a final stand, targeting the chamber's structural supports. The goal wasn't to destroy the hive mind. It was to bury it. As the explosives detonated, the chamber began to collapse. The hive mind's screeches echoed through the abyss, filled with rage and defiance. The team barely escaped the imploding tunnels, leaving behind a storm of dust and rubble. Back at their underground settlement, the survivors mourned their losses but celebrated their temporary victory. The hive mind was buried, but Mia knew the fight wasn't over. "They're evolving," she warned. "It's only a matter of time before they dig their way out. We need to be ready." And so, the survivors of the abyss prepared for war, not just against the undead, but against an intelligent force bent on reclaiming the world. In the darkness of the abyss, hope flickered like a dying flame, fragile but not extinguished. Humanity had survived this far, and they would continue to fight, even in the depths of the underground abyss. The hive mind, referred to by the survivors as the Sovereign, was unlike any undead the world had encountered. Its existence challenged the very definition of life and death, suggesting that the zombie plague above ground was only the beginning of something far more sinister. To understand its origins, Maya Kane and her team embarked on another perilous journey, determined to uncover the truth hidden within the depths of the abyss. Through scavenged records and ancient inscriptions within the tunnels, Mia pieced together fragments of the hive mind's story. Decades before the surface apocalypse, a secret research facility operated near the abyss. Run by the shadowy Eon Consortium, the facility conducted experiments on a parasitic fungus found in deep underground caverns. This fungus, named Cordycepsis abyssalis, exhibited unique properties. It could infect not only simple organisms, but also interact with the neural networks of higher beings, including humans. Eon's goal was to harness it as a tool for neural enhancement and biological immortality. However, the experiments took a darker turn when the fungus began to exhibit autonomy, forming a collective consciousness within its hosts. The hive mind was born, a parasitic superorganism capable of controlling infected beings, accessing their memories, and evolving them to suit its needs. When the researchers realized the threat, they tried to destroy the fungus. But it was too late. The hive mind retaliated, infecting the scientists and using them to spread deeper into the abyss. Eon abandoned the facility, sealing the tunnels and burying their research. They thought they had contained the threat. What they didn't know was that the hive mind had survived, biding its time and growing stronger. As the hive mind expanded underground, it sent spores through fault lines and cracks in the Earth's surface. These spores, carried by wind and water, infected the first humans above ground, creating the mindless zombies that overran civilization. However, these surface zombies lacked the sophistication of their underground counterparts. Without direct influence from the hive mind, they were little more than feral puppets. The true danger lay below, where the hive mind was evolving its own army, the sentries, using its fungal network to create a more intelligent strain of undead. Mia's exploration revealed that the hive mind's strength came from its fungal network, a vast web of mycelium that stretched for miles through the abyss. This network served as its eyes, ears, and brain, allowing it to sense intruders and coordinate its forces. The glowing bioluminescent fungus was not merely decorative. It was a manifestation of the hive mind's will. But the network wasn't just a tool for control. It was a living archive, storing memories and knowledge from every being the hive mind had ever infected. By studying samples of the fungus, Mia discovered echoes of thoughts from ancient times. The screams of the first researchers, the panicked orders of soldiers sent to contain the outbreak, and even faint traces of ancient civilizations that had unknowingly encountered the fungus millennia ago. The hive mind wasn't merely a destroyer, it was a builder. Through captured sentries and fungal samples, Mia learned that the hive mind had a vision for the future. It sought to create a perfect symbiosis, merging life and death into a single, interconnected organism. It viewed humanity's individuality as a weakness, something to be eradicated in favor of a collective consciousness. In its eyes, the apocalypse wasn't a tragedy. It was a beginning. Deeper within the abyss, Mia and her team discovered what they believed to be the hive mind's birthplace. The core cavern. At its center was a massive fungal structure, pulsating with life and glowing with an eerie green light. This was the Sovereign's heart, where the first spores of Cordycepsis abyssalis had taken root. The cavern was littered with remnants of eons' experiments, broken glass tanks, rusted machinery, and skeletal remains. Among them was a sealed data drive. Back at their settlement, Grayson managed to decrypt the files, revealing the full scope of Eon's experiments. The files confirmed that the Sovereign wasn't entirely natural. Eon had enhanced the fungus's neural capabilities using nanotechnology, effectively creating a hybrid organism with both biological and artificial intelligence. This hybrid nature explained the hive mind's ability to evolve so rapidly and adapt to new threats. Mia realized the implications of their discovery. The hive mind wasn't just a threat. It was the unintended consequence of humanity's hubris. The very technology designed to prolong life had become the catalyst for its potential extinction. But there was hope. The data drive contained blueprints for a countermeasure, a viral agent designed to disrupt the hive mind's network. The catch: it had to be delivered directly to the core, a suicide mission deep into the Sovereign's territory. With the settlement's support, Mia began preparations for the mission. She knew the odds of survival were slim, but the stakes were too high to ignore. As she stared at the glowing fungus samples under her microscope, she whispered to herself, "This ends where it began." The survivors of the abyss were no longer merely hiding. They were fighting back, armed with knowledge and determination. But deep in the darkness, the hive mind stirred, its glowing eyes watching, waiting, and adapting. Would humanity prevail, or would the Sovereign claim the underground as its new kingdom? The battle for the abyss and the future of Earth had only just begun.